What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my Resplendent review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at L'Arachel and I'll be going over a lot of the builds that you can run on her. And at the end, I'll have a special bonus segment because L'Arachel definitely deserves that. So she's a Blue Mage Cavalier with Ivaldi Weapon Refine. This gives her +3 defense and she can get +3 attack speed and resistance in the combat. And the Refine part can give her -5 attack and resistance debuff on the opponent in combat, and it can also restore 7 HP to her after the combat. And this Refine is a year old, but still it hasn't really aged too well because it doesn't really provide her with a lot of speed. L'Arachel with the extra stats of Resplendent can just get a bit more faster and can also hit a bit harder with that base 35 attack. This weapon refine does try to make her into a mixed phase range cavalier, but unfortunately L'Arachel does not really have the bulk for it with her low HP and her low defense. You can definitely try and have a lot more bulk at max investment, but it's still not the most desirable role for a range cavalier. Most of the range cavaliers are either going to be extremely offensive or they're going to be extremely defensive like Duolith and Letizia. So while L'Arachel's weapon refine is not the greatest, she's still a fan favorite, and she often gets compared to Valentine Veronica, who's also a speedy cavalier in the free-to-play pool, but she does require grails while L'Arachel doesn't really require that. Unfortunately, Valentine Veronica can perform similarly with the Pack Bloom's weapon, which does provide her with the attack debuff on the enemy as well as the healing. So she can also try and be a mixed phase cavalier by having a bit more HP than L'Arachel, but definitely a lot less resistance. And she is also going to be faster because of her higher base speed. So L'Arachel is one of those units which people are going to be investing into if they like her as a character, and this art is absolutely top tier as well. So if you want to build up L'Arachel, then here are some of the builds. If you just want to build up L'Arachel on a budget, then you can just try and give her speed defense link and have Fury. Now because of the self-healing of Ivaldi, a self-recall skill like Fury is actually not that bad and can definitely give you, +3 to all of her stats, which she does appreciate as a mixed phase cavalier. You can just run Blade Session on her so that she can get even more speed, and this is really important especially at this kind of low investment. If you want to invest a bit more into her, then I would definitely recommend having attack speed push 4, and this skill is present on like a million units, and we also have lull speed resistance in the Divine Code section. So this build does require investment, but still it's not really all that expensive. You can also run Speed Smoke 3 in her Slothy so that you can have better speed. So having better speed is always going to be good, and you can always try and support L'Arachel with some damage reduction allies like Niffle, or even with someone like Fallen Lilith or legendary Male Byleth who can provide her with the null follow-ups. So the extra speed and the mixed phase playstyle is going to be getting a lot of help from those kinds of null follow-ups. If you want to invest even more into her, then you can try and have a trace skill on her, and this is going to be by far the best slot B option that you can run on her because Cavaliers have amazing mobility and they can try and make use of the Canto that they can get out of the Fought Trace skill. So you can try and run attack speed solo 4 or even attack speed push 4, it really depends on which you have. And you can run solo as the Sacred Seal because it is going to be active in both phases. Attack speed menace is also an option so that you can be a lot faster. If you want to invest into L'Arachel completely and have a max investment build, then you can run attack speed catch 4 and also have the new attack smoke 4 skill. Now attack smoke 4 skill does work out for a mixed phase unit like L'Arachel, and this can allow her to prevent the auto follow up enemies from just doubling her, and even some of the faster enemies from doubling her if they do not have null follow up. So this can help her be a bit more bulky, which is where she lacks, which her weapon tries to provide, because you can hardly run Desperation on her because of the self-healing. So she pretty much wants to be a mixed phase unit and run a trace skill or a lull skill. And in this case, a trace skill is definitely pretty good for positioning and just for getting that Canto. An attack speed catch can give you the max offensive buffs, and it does have good synergy with the visible debuff of the Smoke 4 skill. So this is something that you can run even in Summoner Duels, Book 3 and prior metagame, but she's going to be having a hard time getting past a lot of the Farsight Brave Hectors. But still, it's a fun option that you can do if you want to put all of your resources into L'Arachel. Speed Smoke 4 I guess could also be run, but she doesn't really have the highest speed, so she's not going to be able to get the consistent high damage reduction. It's a lot better to just, provide her with some external damage reduction, and you can just have Attack Smoke 4 so that she can have a bit better bulk. And she can also, in a way, prevent the auto follow-up enemies from killing her. Now, if you want to use her in Arena, you could run Beetle Cavalry 4 on her, and you can just run her with the Menace skill, which is going to be really useful. And another way of running L'Arachel in Arena is by running Love Bouquet Plus from Brattle Juno in the Divine Code section, so she can be more of a supportive unit with the Ruse skill and also Giant Drive skill. So this can allow L'Arachel to just boost up the attack of her allies by a lot with the combination of these skills. Evaldi's self-healing might not prove to be the biggest factor, especially in Arena where she's either going to kill the enemy or she's going to be dying, so that's why you can just try and run a bit more supportive build. And now let's move on to her special section. So L'Arachel is a fan favorite and I feel like she deserved a much better weapon refine. So this is my theory craft if her refine was to be improved or if she was to get a re-refine. So this is what I would give her. Now Joshua does have +5 resistance from his weapon, so I would just give +5 defense to L'Arachel as well, and that would just help her with her defense. And with this weapon she can get +4 to all of her stats and also reduces damage from foe's first attack by 50%. Now this damage reduction is really important because L'Arachel just lacks the raw bulk, so this is something that they have done before on Kagero's weapon refine, but it was only for the player phase. So you can do something similar with L'Arachel, who doesn't necessarily have the highest HP or defense, but can still get bulky with this damage reduction. And for her weapon refine part, I've actually taken a bit of inspiration from Latona, and I feel like if she's ever to get a legendary or ascended version, I would really love to see her in a staff version. So with her refine, she can debuff the opponent for -4 attack speed and resistance in combat, and she can also neutralize penalties to the attack and speed of herself and the allies within 2 spaces during the combat. And then after the combat, she can restore 7 HP to herself and the allies within 2 spaces. So this gives her a bit more of a supportive niche. Even when she's not even going to be attacking, she's at least going to be able to protect your allies from the attack and speed debuffs. And again, like I said, I've taken a bit of inspiration from Latona, and that's why I've given her these kinds of effects, which can definitely make her a bit more unique. And Brattlefjorm has received this kind of debuff neutralization in combat for the allies, so I've not really given her the full thing, but only the attack and speed version. So let me know what you think about this theory craft in the comments, if you like it or not. So if you enjoyed this review, then make sure to share this with fellow L'Arachel fans, because I really want to get people's opinion on this weapon refine theory craft which I've done, and you can also try and modernize her build a bit. And if you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps me tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using Super Thanks or by becoming a YouTube member down below. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I think L'Arachel would also beat up YouTube sub boxes senseless if she was not a holy woman. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.